What up, though? It's DJ Smithsonian, and you're tuning into the library. If you're new here, this is the place where we talk about hip-hop's relationship with language, how hip-hop manipulates language, and how hip-hop even creates its own language. Today's episode, we're going to give you another list of outdated punchlines. So this is definitely one of those kids these days won't understand type of conversations, because I'm going to talk about some references to pop culture, technology, and the like that isn't even really relevant now. So if you played it for your nephews, nieces, for your kids, any other youngins, they might not know what's going on.
Man, my topic of talking those to keep it hooked like dope. Turn the ship so hard it needs censorship. Damn, God, you killing it.
So today's three songs. The first one I'm going to give you is another God tier MC. We talk a lot about the God tier MCs. These are the ones who are at the tippy top of the list. These are your top 5, your top 10, your top 25 MCs. And none other than Chris Wallace, Frank White, the Notorious B.I.G. is coming up for the first one. In his song, Juicy, 1994's Juicy, he had a line that said, "Time to get paid, blow up like the World Trade." Now, of course, you probably could think that, yeah, that's a pretty outdated punchline, but it might not be for the reason that you think. So in this song, obviously it came out in the 90s before the tragedy of 9/11. So what was Biggie talking about? Well, in 1993, there was bombing at the World Trade Center, where some terrorists did try to attack it with a vehicle bomb, and they were unsuccessful. So that's the reference that Biggie was talking about. And of course, due to the events that happened September 11th, 2001, and all of the lives that we lost and the families that are still mourning to this day, in more recent broadcast versions of the song and more recent releases of the song, just out of respect, that line has been removed from the lyrics. And we all can probably understand why, right? Second one that I want to bring up is one from my formative years, when I was a teen, living in Detroit, Ecorse. Smiles and Southstar, Tell Me. You probably remember this one-hit wonder that love, hate, mistake. Tell me what you think is going on. Well, in the song, of course, we've got an outdated punchline or two. We've got, in one of the verses you hear, "I was so deceived, I thought we had a thing. You used to blow my two-way up with 1-4-3s. Now, if you're not from that era, like if you just got your voter registration card, you probably don't know what that means. Now, two-way pagers, that was kind of one of the first iterations of the technology that we see now with text messaging. It was like a sideways flip phone, had your little keyboard, and you could send full-on text messages, as opposed to the regular beepers and pagers where you could just do phone and number inputs. And the 143 is actually taken from the era of the straight numerical beepers. 143 used to be a beeper code for "I love you" because of the number, and it was so because of the number of letters in each word. So one, I love, for you, LIOU. Look at that, I love you, 143. And of course, nowadays with the technology that we have with text messaging and instant messaging, unless you're a doctor, you probably have no reason for a beeper unless you just really don't want to be accessible. And I would understand that. Like, if you want people to page you, you're not like on call or whatever, and you're just a regular person out in the world, and you don't want to answer your text messages all the time, you say just beep me, I don't blame you. I might get a beeper myself because my phone is off the hook. If I wasn't recording this with my phone, I would be getting mad text messages from my job and all kinds of email notifications. So I feel you. Third song, we're going to talk about one of my favorite songs. We're actually going to go to the West Coast this time. Talk about a West Coast classic by the Loonies, I Got 5 on it. So for all of you that enjoy cannabis, you've probably heard this song played once or twice. I can't do it, but you know, I still love the song nonetheless. And I Got 5 on it, although most of the song is talking about cannabis, there is a line where Yuck Mouth says, "Go get the S, the TIDES. Nevertheless, I'm hella fresh, rolling joints like a cigarette." And this is from 1995, so you might not know what St. Ides is if you came about in the world past 2000. So St. Ides was a malt liquor and malt beverage. They had like different versions. So like one was like you had like the malt liquor, like similar to your Old English, you know, and all that good stuff. But they also had malt beverages, and they were kind of the first iteration with what we see now that's kind of ubiquitous in liquor stores, with all of these different coolers and alcoholic beverages that aren't really beer, but they still have a similar alcohol content, and they all taste like tropical fruit punch and Skittles or whatever else. So this was kind of the first iteration, or one of the first members of the wave of this hitting the market was through St. Ides. And St. Ides was very popular, especially in West Coast hip hop, and you would see people with the shirts, you would see people having the bottles, like they had mad brand marketing in a lot of West Coast classic music videos. Go back, see if you can find like the big crooked eye symbol. That is St. Ides. And unfortunately, it was originally manufactured by Mackenzie River Corporation, but was discontinued in the late 90s. Who knows why? Maybe people found something else to drink, because also, you know, I've gotten hypothesis that it might have something to do with the Jiggy era. Like in the late 90s, early 2000s, that's when things got real shiny, and we were popping Cristal and all kinds of champagnes and high-priced vodkas and all of that in hip-hop. Personally, I was still broke pimping, so my pockets could not let me ball out with the ballers. But now I actually did some looking into St. Ides and tried to see what was going on, and the brand is actually being revamped. It was recently acquired by Pabst Brewing Company, responsible for PBR. All of you better know what PBR is. If you've had a single beer in your life, you should know what PBR is. But they're actually not selling it as an alcoholic beverage. They've now changed the brand over, and they sell THC infused teas. So, you know, actually kind of going full circle from the original reference in the song to St. Ides by the Loonies. You can now drink your St. Ides and have the same feeling as the people doing other things and having 5 on other stuff, which is very interesting. And you could also buy merch too. I was looking at it, and I probably got like a couple shirts in my cart, because I mean, it was an iconic symbol, and I think it would be kind of cool to rock a St. Ides shirt or something like that. And I think there's a Law and Order episode with Snoop Dogg recently where he had like a St. Ides jacket. If I could find that, I'm like, Scooter, y'all ain't gonna have, I ain't gonna be nothing. Y'all ain't gonna be able to tell me nothing. If I'm walking around with a St. Ides t-shirt and a St. Ides bomber jacket, let me get some fresh sneakers on. Look, y'all ain't gonna be able to tell me a dang on thing. Y'all gonna see me out in the street, and I'm gonna be like, look, just be silent. I'm styling on y'all right now. I'm just too fresh to be outside with my St. Ides. But that's it. Those are our 3 outdated punchlines for this episode. Please tune into the more episodes. We've actually got some longer form ones coming, where I start bringing some of my friends in, and we start having some deeper conversations about hip hop and lyrics. And please add to the comments, what are some outdated punchlines that you know of? If you're, and especially the new generation, like, hey, I got nothing but respect for the new school MCs out there, the new school hip hop listeners. Tell me something. Tell me a track that you just don't understand. Tell me like a line that like your older cousin or something said that, hey, this line was iconic or this song was so dope, and they were just talking a whole bunch of stuff that you had no idea what they were saying. Put that in the comments too, because we'll happy to explore it, and I'd love to break down more punchlines for y'all. This Smithsonian DJ once again. Thank you for coming to my library. Peace.
Man, my topic of talking those to keep it hooked like dope. Nothing ship so hard in these censorship. Damn, God.